All right, let's take a look at the Access Module 1 MindTap project. It does have a warning that this project is not compatible with Office for Mac. So for you Mac users, remember you're not going to be able to do the projects on your system. Okay, here we go. I'm on step 2 of 2, so I got to go back. Now I'm going to download my instructions and I'm going to download my start file. And again, I'm just getting a warning down here that this type of file can be harmful to my computer. That's just my McAfee program that's doing that. Yours may or may not do that. I'm going to tell it to keep it because I know it's good. It better be anyway. Open my instructions and let's take a look at them. All right, I don't think this is going to be too bad. Just 13 steps we need to walk through. Okay, I'm just going to move this out of the way and I'm going to open the database that I downloaded, Able Content. And here's the objects over here that are already created for me. If you can't see them, this pane right here, you can adjust. I'm going to make this a little wider so I can see everything. So I'm going to put my cursor over that border. I get a two-sided arrow, click hold, and just drag that out a little bit so I can see everything. And it looks like I already have 2 tables, because I think that doesn't really count, and then 1 form that's already created. All right, so the first step is create a new table in the data sheet view with the following options. Okay, to create a new table in data sheet view, I'm going to click on my Create tab, click on Table. It automatically opens to the data sheet view. So let's look at something really quick. Here on my ribbon, I have a view. If I click that drop down arrow, I have data sheet view and I have design view. So there's 2 different ways that I can enter data to create my table. But we're going to start with data sheet view, and this is the view that looks very much like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. The first thing I'm going to do is rename the default primary key ID field to country code, and I'm going to change the data type to short text. So let's look at what that means. Anytime that I create a new table, I am going to get this ID key right here. This is a required field, and by default, the name is ID. So I'm just going to click on that, and they want me to call it country code. Now notice there are no spaces. You do not want to use a space when you are naming your fields within Access. Okay, so my country code, oh, and I also need to change that to the short text. So on my Fields tab, the data type is by default auto number, which means every time that I would enter a new record, it would automatically number 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want that. We simply want this to be short text. So I'm going to change that. Now remember, in Access, each column is a field, and then each row is going to be a record that is entered. And all this will start making a little bit more sense as we go along. Okay, I'm still on 1B, moving along quite slowly here. Change the field size to 3. So my field size is, again, here under my Fields tab. By default, it's 255. So I'm going to change that to 3. And that is how many characters that you can actually enter here. So I'm limited to 3 characters and not 255. Okay, 1C, add a new field with the name, country name, and short text data type. So if I just click to add short text, and the field name is going to be country name, Save the table using country as the new name. So if I just click on my save icon, or if I just do a Control S on my keyboard, either way, I want to name the table to country. Okay, and notice over here in my objects pane, here is my new table, country. Number 2, with the country table still open in datasheet view, we're going to add 4 records. Now you're going to need to look at your instructions so you can actually see the information that you need to enter. Once I enter this data, then I'm going to save and close this table. So my first one, country code, is Belgium, BEL, and it looks like they want us to do it. And notice if I try to add more characters, I can't, because remember, we limited that field size to 3. Now I'm going to click Tab, go to my country name, and it's Belarus. So now we're just going to add all the other records. Save and close. Now when you close, you have to come all the way over here to this X right here. I could right click, close, or hit this X right here to close out of this table. Do not hit this upper X right here because that is for your program. So I'm going to click on the X to close out of that. Number 3, create a new table in Design View to store the names of the clients of this business. So again, I'm going to go to Create, Table. I'm in Design View, 3A. Add a field with the name Client ID. And we with auto number data type, and we want to make that the primary key. So remember, this very first field is always going to be designated as the primary key, and you will always have this field called ID. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename this field to Client ID. I'm going to change the data type to auto number, and actually I don't have to change that, it's already auto number, and it's already the primary key because by default that's how it is set. I'm going to save the table with the name client, but I'm not going to close it. Number 4, with the client table still open in Design View, add a second field to the table with the field name client name and short text as the data type. Save the table and close it. Number 5, open the consultant table in Design View and update the name of some of the fields. So let's open that up in Design View first. I'm going to click on the consultant table. If I right click on it, I'm going to click in Design View. Now this is a slightly different view than we've been working with. Datasheet View and Design View. Let's just real quick look at the difference. View, I'll go to Datasheet View. This is what it would look like. And now back to Design View. Notice that you don't see any of the information entered here because Design View is solely for designing the table. Okay, let's see what we need to do. Number 5 again. We're going to update the name of the first field using first name. So right here where it says first, I want to name that to first name and update the last field to where it says last name. Number 6, with the consultant table still open in Design View, change the data type property for the consultant ID from number to short text. So here where it says data type, click the drop down arrow and we're going to change that to short text instead of number. Number 7, in Design View, add a new field to the consultant table after the last name field. So I'm just going to click in the next available spot and I'm going to name this field Start Date. And for data type, it's going to be date time. Save and close the consultant table. I'm going to save it and close it. Number 8, open the consultant table in Datasheet view. By default, if I double click on a table, it will automatically open in Datasheet view. We're going to navigate to the 7th record. So how do you know what record is the 7th? Well, only the 7th one I could count down. But if you look down here at your navigational area, you can see that we are on record 1 of 40. So I could actually just arrow over to I'm now at record 7 of 40. And it should actually be 110460 is what my instructions say. And sure enough, that's what it is. And we need to delete it. So I'm just going to click on it, right click, and I can delete this way, or you can actually make sure you have that record selected up here in my ribbon under records, which I'm on the home tab, records grouping, and then I can delete it that way. Are you sure? Yes. Number 9, with the consultant table still open in Datasheet view, navigate to the 4th record. So I'm just going to go back to the 4th record and verify that we're on the right one as per the instructions. It's 110351. Yep, that's it. And I'm going to update the first name from Sid to Sydney. I'm going to close the consultant table. It didn't tell me to save it, but I'm going to save it. And close. Number 10. You also need to view individual consultant records. So now we're going to create a form using the form wizard. And we're going to take the fields from the consultant table. So what we need to do is go to create. Anytime you're going to create anything new, whether it's a table, a form, a query, or a report, it's always under the create tab. So I'm going to use my form wizard, and I'm going to include all the fields from the consultant table. So right here, I can actually create a form from a table and or a query that I've created. If I click this drop down arrow, it'll show everything that I can actually pull fields from. But I want the consultant table, which it was already at, and I want all of these fields. So I can add them one at a time. Or if I click the one with the icon with the double arrows, it'll pull them all over. Click next, and I want this to be a column type, and it's already there by default. Next, and let's see, save the form with the name consultant data form. And finish. And I'm going to verify that it looks like the screenshot that I have in my instructions. Pull that down, look at it. Does that look like that? I think it looks the same. I think we did good. Okay, close the form. Now we are on number 11. We're going to use a simple query wizard to create a query, and this one's going to be based on the skill table. So again, I want to create something, so I'm going to go to my Create tab, and I want a simple query wizard. So under my under my queries, query wizard. It's kind of hard to say. Say that fast 10 times. Include the fields from, okay, so a simple query, okay, and I'm going to include the fields from the skill table. So I need to click this drop down arrow, choose skill, all the fields, there's only 2, but add those. Next, save it as skill query, and that's actually the default name, so I don't need to change anything. Finish, looks beautiful. And notice how over here we now have a new query. So these are all objects. Remember that. We have tables, queries, forms, and reports, which we haven't created yet. But these are all objects within our database. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now I'm on number 12. You need to refer to a printed copy of the skill table when assigning consultants to projects. I'm reading the instructions. So anytime you need to print something, this is called a report. You have to create a report so you can actually print something from your database. So I'm going to use the report wizard again under create. Now I'm going to reports, report wizard, and I'm basing this off of the skill table. All of the fields, does that include all 2 fields? Next, and do not include any grouping levels, so I'm not including any. Next, sort by skill code in ascending order. By skill code, by default, it's ascending already. Next, and I want tubular, and I want portrait layout, and next, and I'm going to name this skill report. Confirm that the report matches. Finish. Let's take a look at that. Let's see, does it look like what our screenshot looks like? Where's it at? Yeah, I think we did okay. Move that back. Okay, what am I supposed to do now? Save the name, confirm, and then close the report. Okay. Hey, number 13, we're almost done. In the navigation pane, rename the skill form using skill data form as the new name. So my skill form, here my table, just making sure skill form, skill. Don't confuse that. I almost did with the table. The skill form, I'm going to right click and I'm going to rename and I'm going to call this skill data form. Save and close any objects, and we don't have any opened. I'm going to compact and repair the database and then close it. So I'm going to go to my database tools, compact and repair database. Doesn't take too long because it's really super tiny. Close it and then exit access. And then you're going to submit your completed project. One thing that I did not walk you through on was the one thing that we have been doing with every single project. Don't forget to rename the 1 to a 2. So if you go into File, Save As, you have a whole bunch of things here. Don't get confused by that. Just keep what is default here. Save as, and then you're just going to give it a new name, just like you've been doing all along. And I'm going to actually put this on my desktop so I know where it's at. Save, and then you can see on your title bar that the 1 changed to a 2. Now you can upload this back into MindTap like you do for everything else. All right, let me know if you guys need any further help with this.